intellectual or nutritional, some of the best things that you can do for your system are to get your system off balance, right? To move you into a different place. If we had just me or Dr. Tate or Brad or somebody come up and lecture to you guys 4 hours every single day, you would dread it. You would absolutely dread the afternoons. But when it's like, oh, who's this person? What are they doing? Or what's that? That's interesting. I wonder what that was all about. It really moves you around. We're out on hikes every morning for a reason. We want your system to be jogged out of where you were. Remind you that you're living in a completely different place. This is not anywhere that you've probably ever seen, well, unless you've been to southern Utah, but the red rocks and the temperature and the topography and the lava and the sandstone and the formations, it's just beautiful, but super unique. So that the mornings jog your system into oh wow, I'm in a completely different place. And your mind has to start that process of, oh yeah, I'm at the bridge. And then you come back and the food's different and somebody else prepares it and then the classes are different. So just hang in there and recognize there really is a method to all of the madness. There really is. And I hope you're starting to feel your system shift a bit. Have you noticed that? Do you feel your system shifting just a little bit?
I was going to say that for me, actually, it was fairly quickly. I was able, just because everything about being here is very different from my life as it is at home right now. Like I live by myself, and I'm like, I'm like a creature of habit in some ways. That I wouldn't say I'm not like I wouldn't say like I'm an alcoholic or anything like that, but I'm usually I'm a happy hour guy. That and I was wondering how it was going to be without any alcohol or anything like that, because that's usually my moment in the day where I,
right.
like I do feel a little better,
Sure,
I mean?
of course, yeah.
And I just found that being here, and I do think in the group setting that we have, and I think we have a good group of people here, it's very easy just to start, I don't want to say start over, but get into like a really different headspace.
Yeah.
And then I sort of feel like like if you guys were to see me in my normal element,
your natural habitat.
Yeah, it's not at all like how I am here.
It's not this.
Yeah. Jay, if you don't mind, bro, like from the first night, and you're just like your demeanor, your kind of like energy and everything, in just 4 days. That's why when I saw you yesterday, I was like, "Did you shave?" And you're just like, you just looked like a almost like a different version of yourself. You were like this bubbly. You knew you were a great dude from the start, but it's like really cool how fast that this is your first time going to treatment, right? And like how fast you just made that shift of being like I was when I went to rehab, where I was a little salty and a little like out of my comfort zone. It's just nuts that how fast you like embrace. So good for you, bro.
Well, and hopefully you've had some fun. Have you guys had some fun? Yeah, you got to have some fun. And hopefully you don't feel trapped or babysat, right? Or patronized, or any of the things that I hate and that most humans hate about going to get help. I don't like any of those feelings. Deep down, all humans are pretty messy. We just are. Like, that's the way humans do things. We all are. I don't care who you are. And if you're not honest about your messes, then you're probably not telling the truth, really. I mean, that's the way we do it. If your messes start getting in the way of your life and your relationships suffer and your health suffers and you start issues with weight or diet or chronic illness, that's when you jump in. But you don't want to adjust your weirdness generally, because that's just what you've got to deal with, right? That's how it goes. So this is kind of fun for me to introduce you to a little bit about the base philosophy of the bridge. You've met some providers. You've had some good sleeps. How's the food so far, everybody? Food's great, yeah? Healthy, but good. So everybody, and I have to use my hands. I'm an old professor, so I have to do that. So all of us, we come to the bridge because of pain, yeah? Is that accurate? Psychological, emotional, spiritual, identity pain, whatever. But we come because there's some disturbance that we're no longer willing to keep battling through. How many of you have tried to tell yourself not to be disturbed? or not to be depressed or not to be anxious or to go to sleep, how well does your conscious speaking to the subconscious work long term for recovery? It doesn't at all, right?
Opposite effect. If you try to stay awake, you fall asleep faster.
Yeah, it's that fight that we create. If we don't know how to go underneath our stuff, we just start a fight psychologically. Well, I know I should be doing this, but I think this, and I know I should go to sleep, but I really can't. And I know I should be happy, but I'm super, super sad. And I know I shouldn't be anxious, but I'm super anxious. And I know, you just start that process where you start fighting on the inside. And every time you fight on the inside, there's only one person really in the ring, and so you lose every single time. So, and being a physician, I'm classically trained, but it's almost embarrassing to think that when we've got these complicated processes, that we just take the whole thing and say, well, let's just numb it up for a little while. What's that going to do? Well, I don't know, maybe they'll figure it out while they're numb, and then when they're not numb anymore, maybe the lights will turn on and they'll be fine. Data on that is terrible. Actually, data on all antidepressants, SSRIs, SNRIs, MRIs, long-term data. Have you guys ever looked at just the data? Like, forget the philosophy, forget everything else. What does the data say for pain medicine, antidepressants, anti-anxiolytics, and sleeping pills? What does the data say? Do you feel happier? Do you sleep better? Are you in less pain? Are you less anxious? Like, long-term data on medicine, what does the data say?
Opposite effect.
It doesn't work.
It's just like Xanax, right? Like,
It doesn't work.
when you start taking Xanax for anxiety, or I took
Yeah.
Klonopin
Yeah,
back
same.
in the day, and all of a sudden your anxiety is threefold.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, I need more, and then your doses go up. And I know with SSRIs, I was at pharma and I had one on, and yeah, they actually tend to be more depressed.
You
All
can.
in 15 years, or it doesn't have like a.
Yeah. There's no linear positive relationship between traditional therapies and recovery. That's embarrassing to say. This is my field. I spend a lot of time and money studying it. They dubbed me doctor, I graduated, all that stuff, but really, if you look at data, we're not doing a very good job, especially with chronic cycles. We're just not. And one of the first guys, we have our books out here, one of the first guys that came out and kind of shined a light on that, this is a psychiatrist from Harvard. See, Chris, I'm giving you a plug. This is a psychiatrist from Harvard, Chris Palmer. He basically came out and said, look, as a psychiatrist, I've seen thousands of patients, I've prescribed thousands of pills. It's not working. And I want to help people, and what I'm doing in this traditional system isn't really working. And he ended up coming up with a really amazing deep dive into a lot of data that said this is a systemic issue. It's not a mental issue, it's not a physical issue, it's a systemic issue. It's an energetic issue. This is in the mitochondria. It's in the way that you think. It's in the way that you react and interact with everything. And he's been wildly successful. Some people in his community don't like him, obviously. He's kind of taking a big shot at the establishment, but the people that are really interested in the recovery love him. So that's a really fun book. So we start with pain, and most of us, we come over and we say, I want relief, right? I want relief from my pain. And we start this quest for relief. How many of you have been on a quest for relief for a while now? Right? I want relief. I want to feel better. I want help, right? You don't want to feel better? You don't want help?
Those are two separate questions.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
I don't care if I feel relief of pain as long as that pain is pain in my head and not pain in my body. I care less about that. It's the pain in my head.
So you want relief from the pain in your head? Okay, so we're all looking for something. I don't want to feel this. I don't want to feel this kind of pressure. Mind, body, spirit, relationships, whatever. What do we do on our quest for relief? Let's just make a list. Let's just be random for a second. What do? You want relief, what do you pick? Say that again.
Go see a doctor.
See a doc. We'll say see a provider. What else?
I'm usually self-destructive.
Self-destruct? Well, you can make specific lists. Can I use alcohol for you? RJ, is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
Try that. Does it work? Does alcohol work? Let's be honest.
It's a temporary thing.
Yeah, for a minute, it does. It takes the edge off. Long term, how does alcohol do? Extremely destructive, right? But short term, it takes the edge off for sure. What else do we do when we're looking for relief?
Nicotine.
Yeah, nicotine, sure. This is gonna go down. Nicotine. What else? Medication, sure. Meds.
Self-isolation.
Yeah, we isolate, sure. That used to be one of mine. Isolate. While we're isolating, what do? TV, shop. What's that?
I said talk terribly to yourself.
Talk terribly. Yeah, poor self-talk.
Yeah.
Poor self-talk, sure.
Sometimes I need to keep moving. So that running kind of feeling.
So Madison runs. Yeah.
Or going
Same
on long
music.
walks at night or something, or going on a car ride at night, or
Some distraction, maybe. Is that
yeah.
so?
You get home, but yet you're not ready to go home.
Distraction. Keep moving. Like keep
moving.
something moving. Yeah.
Get impulsive, seek out different feelings, whether it might be a different person, drug, or whatever. But yeah, I think for at least me, I'm super impulsive and just want a quick fix.
Yeah. I want to feel better right now. Right now. And I know it's 3 a.m, and I know I've already had 2 bowls of mini wheats, but I'm going to have a third because, yeah.
I was gonna say binge.
Yeah, we binge. We binge watch, we binge eat, we binge sleep, right? What else for relief? This is just an honest quest to feel better. This is no disparagement. What else do we do? How about relationships?
I was gonna say, oddly, sometimes I set up things to reaffirm what was going on in my mind.
Ah.
Give relief in the way of oh yeah,
Mm.
Self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yes. A self-fulfilling prophecy. Yeah, I love that. That's very astute.
Excuses too.
Ooh,
I just don't
excuses?
have an excuse to not go into work because that's where my anxiety is at. So I'm gonna make my excuse.
Excuses, I love it. Yeah.
Bury it.
What's that?
Bury it.
Bury, sure.
Yeah, sometimes I do with pain, but sometimes yeah.
Bury it. Love it. Relationships. Anybody try to attach to someone else or something else during these times?
Oh, I learned my fur babies.
Fur babies?
Yeah.
Pets?
I learned what I was gonna say. I learned what codependency was yesterday. The definition of it.
Yeah, what is it? Do you remember?
Oh well,
Yeah,
when
well,
he would get upset or start doing things, it was my job to regulate his emotions.
Yes.
But he never did it back for me. But I wouldn't need him to regulate my emotions. I would more just want a shoulder to cry on when someone died in my family or something.
Right, right.
But he never returned it. So I learned it could be one way.
Yeah. There's narcissism blend with that too.
I learned that's what he was when Instagram heard it.
Yeah.
From someone. And
There-
I couldn't not hear it.
There's an old saying, that old institution of codependency where soulmates become cellmates. That's a pretty cool, because it describes that. It's like, oh my gosh, I can't live without you. And 6 months later, you're like, I gotta get away. Please don't leave. I gotta get away. Please don't leave. It's just, it gets crazy, crazy.
So I guess I took care of him a lot.
Yeah.
But he did give me credit for it. So.
Attachment, is that, I mean, obviously we all have
We
a
attach,
need for a healthy attachment, correct?
but we attach unhealthy, healthy, but we try to get something outside of us.
So you're saying it doesn't have to be another human being, you're saying we're trying to attach to something or someone.
Yeah, something. I don't know who this is. I don't know who this is. This is scaring me to death. This is scaring me to death. Like something else, some other thing. I'm going to go on a trip. I'm going to find a best friend. I'm going to take up fly fishing. I've got to go out and attach to something else because I can't attach here. And I can't attach here. This scares me to death. So I want something outside of me. Humans especially.
What about I don't know, I feel like I kind of shut down.
Shut down, sure.
So shutdown is the big thing.
Shut down. Love it.
Freeze.
Freeze.
Distractions or
Ooh.
escapism.
Distractions. Love it.
Lashing out.
Ooh, yeah, lashing out. I've never been as angry or as volatile or defensive as when I was chronic. I had a very, very short trigger. And especially when people would come up and try to tell me that it was just going to be okay, like some cheap advice, you know.
Yeah.
And it's a funny story, but I went to church after my wife left, and I kind of was trying to right the ship, you know. I went to church. This sweet little lady came up and she goes, "I heard Amy left," and I'm like, "Yeah, she did, you know." And I heard she met him on the internet. I'm like, "That's true. I don't know how everybody knows that, but yeah, that is true." And I heard they're really happy. I'm like, "Okay, yeah, that's great." And she goes, "But I have some great news for you, Daren." I'm like, "Okay, what's that?" She goes, "Did you know that for every 60 seconds you're sad, you lose a minute of happiness?" And I was like, "Oh my gosh." Yeah. So we don't like, yeah, we don't like to be cheapened. We don't like to be like talked down to. We don't like to be patronized. We don't want a post-it note that says you're a good person. Like, when we're disturbed, what we need isn't relief. I know that sounds shocking, but how much time have we all spent searching for relief with this stuff? Years, right? And money and resources. Why doesn't it work? Why doesn't our quest for relief produce relief? It's avoidant, right? This isn't real relief. Now, we've got this whole other side of the board. Any ideas what could be over here? This is pretty profound, actually. So we try all of this, and we learn that relief can't be found in the quest for relief. We've got to have a quest for something else.
Purpose? Oh.
Close. So we have to have a quest for development. That sounds odd, but as you develop as a human, you get less and less interested in the insecure and the shallow. You start to wonder how you're participating in that. So rather than blaming somebody else for my codependency, oh, they were just so charming, they lured me in, they told me the right story, whatever, we start saying, why was I vulnerable? Like, what part of me needed that work? I'm not sleeping because my ex-wife's out with somebody else. I'm not sleeping because of me. Like, I'm not sleeping because of something that I'm processing. I mean, that's a huge leap. I'm not attaching to the right people, not because I end up with idiots. I'm not attaching to the right people because of my lack of development, my short-sightedness. Like, that's a huge problem. Most of us, myself included, when you first come up and say, I want help, you start waving that victim card to everybody that will listen to you. They did that to me. I was abused as a child. My wife left me. I can't believe that this happened. My boss fired me. You wouldn't believe the economy. I just lost my 401k. Somebody rear-ended me. There's a drunk driver that killed my aunt. I mean, it just goes on and on and on and on and on. This doesn't really care about that victimization piece. This is generally very wound up in that piece of, poor Daren. What happened to Daren? What did somebody do to Daren? How does Daren feel? Did Daren sleep? Right? When I was coming out of the dark in that, I sat down with a really brilliant guy. He's become a dear, dear friend over a lot of years. But he said, isn't it interesting how selfish you've gotten on your quest for relief? And I was like, ouch, that's not very nice, you know? And he said, it seems like the entire world revolves around Daren. And I sat there for a second and I'm like, ouch. And he said, what isn't about you? I'm like, oh, well, I'm here to talk about, he goes, no, really, what isn't about you? Isn't everything about you? And I was like, crap, yeah, it kind of is. Everything has become about me. How do I feel? Why am I sad? What's going on? What about my trauma? And I got through repressed feelings, and this medicine didn't work, and this medicine might have worked, and I have epigenetics, and I have these genes, and we just can't stop feeling like there's something else out there that's controlling me. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Keith?
but I also think that, like for me, right, like I was getting a ton of physical pain. I've got some structural things that have been legit or whatever, but, you know, and so I went to pain management, went to chief guy at UCLA PTSD. But then it was like I bought a hot tub, a sauna, cold plunge, like thousands of dollars, tens of thousands of dollars on like
Right.
treatments and everything. I truly, because I'm not educated the way you guys are on this stuff, I didn't
Yeah.
know that there was like I never thought it would be like emotional trauma or any of that stuff
Yeah.
that might be related to it. So sometimes like we're doing that stuff because that's all we know
Totally.
of how to address it, and that's what's really cool about here. I've been here 4 days, and I was like, no doctor ever asked me, like, why is your body breaking down in your
Yeah.
age? You know, like, so.
Like,
to
that's
say-
not my
I'm
fault.
gonna
Yeah.
play victim, I'm like,
No,
but
sure.
I wish I was more proactive
Yeah.
on learning about this stuff, but we're not experts, so it's interesting. Like,
Yeah. So,
talking about if it's selfish, you're just doing with you're using the resources that you know about.
but you're trying to suck something out of the universe to help you. So this is all outside in therapy, right? Something from the outside I want inside, or I want to change the inside. I want to do something from the outside to change the inside. Something from the outside's got to be able to change the inside. This is what? This is inside out therapy. This is something on my inside is going to start changing the outside. My relationships, my cravings, my sleep, my depression, my anxiety, my chronic pain, all of that. But I've got to do something on the inside. Most of us, though, I'll speak for myself. I've only had one life, obviously, but our egos get so into this protective mode of our identities that it makes it awfully, awfully difficult. I'm a good person. I wouldn't do this to myself. How dare you suggest that I would, we start into that defensive posture where we don't think there's any possible way that we're contributing in this massive way to our condition. We just can't be. Like, why would anyone do that to themselves? Why would I hurt myself? Why would I be depressed? Why would I be anxious or not sleep or attract unhealthy things or choose unhealthy foods? Like, I'm trying to do different things, but it doesn't work. And so this idea that I'm not very well developed was really hard for me. That was hard. And Dr. Karen, and there's a couple of other people in my life at that time too, but he just said, Daren, wouldn't it be an absolute privilege to finally figure out that you've been wrong about some really important things all your life?
Yeah.
And I was like, wait, what?
I'm trying to wrestle with that right now, actually.
And he just said, just think about the relief. If you could just get rid of your ego, if you could just stop caring about what other people thought and your story, and if you could just shut up for a minute and finally figure out that what would it feel like to finally just honestly realize that you had just been wrong about some really important things. Your need for X. You're feeling like this. You need to get this done. You need to get certain grades. You need to do a certain thing for a living in order to be acceptable, by women or in society or whatever. And I sat there and I just thought that's really hard. And he said, if you can't start there, you can't really get better, because deep down, every time somebody tries to come into your space and help you, you'll be saying, well, how can I be wrong on that deep of a level? I just need help. I want to maintain my identity. I want to maintain me. Don't mess with me, but I want this me to feel better. I just, leave me alone. I'm a good person. I try really hard. And I'm really miserable, so I just want to leave my ego alone, leave my identity alone, and I want you to make that identity feel better. And I said, well, of course. And he said, it doesn't work. And I said, why? And he said, it's the identity that gets broken. I'm like, what do you mean the identity? And then I thought about that, and I really started to dig, and I realized that I was only living one possible identity out of trillions. That was malleable. No one ever, I'd never in my wildest dreams thought that the identity that I thought was me, this is just me, and no one understands me. I mean, I didn't understand me. But the fact that was malleable was just earth-shattering to me. You mean I can become a morning person? Sure. I can get rid of my rage? Yes. I can be a good partner in a relationship? Yeah, of course. I can run a marathon? Absolutely. Could I do Leadville, the 100? Yeah, you could do that. What about serve without any expectation of an outcome? Could you do that? Well, I don't know about that, because I deep down secretly want to be acknowledged for everything that I do, whatever. But we go into these spaces And it gets tricky when we try to maintain that old identity and we want something to come from the outside and make us feel better. It makes sense though, because this has been our quest. We've kind of assumed this on a subconscious level, and we've put a lot of time and energy into saying, I can't tell you how many people come to the bridge and they just say, I just want to know what's wrong with me.
Yeah, how do you reconcile like us being here? Like we were searching for outside help.
Yeah.
Did we just get lucky that it happened to be, you happen to be teaching us the right things at the end of the day?
Yes, no. I mean, partially, right? Because we're still reaching for some help, and you should always reach for help when you need help. That's appropriate. But what kind of help you get is going to decide whether that just becomes another thing that you're going to have to do forever and ever and ever, or it's something that can lead, rather than lead you to me or a program or a technique or a pill or a diet or a meditative technique, or waiting for Jupiter to be in retrograde or whatever, rather than lead you to something outside, you can be led to something inside.
That's what's cool about like when you leave this place, or when I went to rehab before, and they were all like, "You can't go back to Boston. You're not going to survive there." And I went back, and I was around the same bad influence, the same environment. I was like, I had been changed at rehab, and I was 9 years sober after, but I got to move out to California, and it was very easy for me to be like, I got to be a new person. I got to be different, not the same like,
Not the Boston Keith, right?
Yeah. I think when you leave here, you will. I think that's why we're all like super comfortable, more bubbly than we've probably been in the last like year. At least for me, when we got here, is you got to decide on a plane ride, and when you got here, like who you wanted to be here. The tough part sometimes is when you go back to like your familiar environment, around the people that expect you to act a certain way, be a certain way. Like, oh shit, it's Keith. Like we have to worry about him. It's a disaster. Like. So I don't know if you want to talk about
sure,
that.
but see, that's a testament to me being controlled from the outside in.
Okay.
That's just another testament to me saying I have to be in a certain environment around certain people to be okay.
Or you fall into a role, and I think that I've
It's a
experienced it where you could be whoever
it's a
you want
program,
to be
sure.
after you leave here.
Sure.
But sometimes you gotta you might have to lose some friends and maybe family and relationships that aren't feeding you
Sure.
positive stuff.
The ancient quote from the 70s, wherever you go, there you are. That means that you take this everywhere. So if this doesn't get fixed, if you end up with 8,000 buttons for the world to push, Boston will push them different than LA for sure. But when you start removing buttons, are you more free to go wherever you want?
Oh yeah.
Now you can go wherever you want. Now you can go to Alaska or Boston or LA, or you can go to Hawaii, or you can be in a relationship or out of a relationship. You can have a great job or no job. You can sleep well every night, and you don't have to sleep well some nights. Right? When the buttons start getting removed, now you get to just motor around without needing, you better not say the wrong thing, the weather's got to be perfect, I got to be close to, no, you'll end up much less dependent on outside particulars. Does that make sense?
That's awesome, yeah.
And that's the beauty, is when you really reconcile that, now you can be good in the world and for the world instead of trying to find a place in the world that would be good to you. It's just different. So this development, inside out, what do we do when we start thinking about, all right, Daren, all right, listen, you're not good at relationships, especially intimate ones. You have a little bit of a volatile streak. You're kind of defensive. You have tiny little threads of narcissism. You can tell that you think the world revolves around you in some ways. I know that's not fun to admit, but you can kind of feel that, right? And you start into that space. What do I need then to develop? If I say, my hope of putting together a good life for me is development, what do I start focusing on if I want to develop the things in me that are poorly developed? What do I do? What do I start seeking out? Does any of this make sense? Like, would I say, well, I'm just going to distract myself? That doesn't make sense over here. Well, I'm going to binge. Well, that doesn't help. I'm going to shut down. Nope. I'm going to grab a relationship. I'm going to join a dating app, and I'm going to go, make out with somebody. Self-destruct, or I'm going to drink alcohol, or I'm going to do whatever. So if I want to develop, what do I have to do? What's that? I got to be aware, right, RJ? I've got to be aware. Is awareness really fun? No. Awareness is no fun at all, because you have to sit there with Daren and go, all right, man, this is just us. How are things going? Not good. How are your relationships? Not that great. How is your communicating? I don't communicate that well. You know, how's the driving? A little aggressive. I mean, you just start into this space where you have to be dead straight honest with yourself. And as you're aware, you've also got to be honest. I mean, really, really honest for the first time, some of you in your lives, about what you're good at and what you're not good at, and what you're okay with and what you're not okay with. Honesty isn't just self-deprecating, it's also what you're good at. Hey, I'm good with people. I'm good with animals. I'm really good as a volunteer. I'm very uplifting in the right circumstance. I'm pretty physically able. Hey, I got a good connection with heaven. I can help. I can really lean on that. I've got some skill there. Like, they're both valid. Awareness, honest. You have got to learn to listen. Listen instead of talk and yak and all of that. Like, listening is different. I was talking to Dr. Tate. Have you guys met Dr. Tate yet? Has he been here? What do you think of Dr. Tate? Love him, right? He's like Mr. Rogers with two PhDs, right? He's just this brilliant guy. Genius guy. I love him, you know. And as we're talking about that, he said, you know, have you ever really listened? This is 25 years ago when we just started. And I go, oh yeah, I listen all the time and I'm doing really well. And man, I was in such a dark spot, taking a lot of pills. I'm doing awesome. And he listened to me, you know. And he's like, but do you really listen? And I thought, I don't know if I listen enough. So I started doing my own little dig and my own little dive. And I realized I had never really sat down with my depression and just listened to it. Or with my anxiety and just listened to it. Or my insomnia and just listened. Or my neurosis or my whatever, or my fears, and just said, rather than feel afraid and nervous and anxious, what if I just listened and tried to find a message or tried to learn something in that space? And the more I thought, I wrote down in my journal this night as I was kind of coming out of the dark, and it just said, you have got to consider these disturbing feelings and sensations as your greatest potential teachers. And that shift was miraculous for me, because every time I had been in the classroom with the feeling of depression before, I'd like flip it off and wad up my note paper and break my pencil in half and be like, screw this. Like, I hate this. Go away. Like, I want to do something to get rid of it. I don't want to listen to you. I don't want to be here. I don't want to feel this way. This is horrible. Like, I want out. That's what I want. This sucks. Like, I want this to be done. The switch from that to I hate you, I want to medicate you and destroy you, to all right. I'm just going to sit here. I'm going to sharpen my pencil. I'm going to take out a clean piece of paper. And depression tonight, it's just you and me. I want you to teach me. I want you to talk to me. I want you to help me understand what you're trying to say. Because apparently I can't graduate from this subject. I've tried relief in 1,000 ways, and I can't graduate from this feeling. So rather than just hate it or assume that it's just wrong, what if I took a different path and said, what am I supposed to learn from this space, and how can I move through that? And I remember the first time I sat down with my depression. I literally took a pen and I had some paper out, and I just put my pen on the top of the page, and I'm like, all right, depression, teach me, like, talk to me. Who are you? Like, what is this? And my first sentence was, I was just a little boy. And the tears, right? I'm like, that's true. I was little. So that has a base, and it's like, yeah, that has a base. Let's talk, Daren. Let's keep talking. And as a little boy, I needed support and didn't get that. So my development through some of those hard emotions just didn't get taken care of the way that it could have. It just didn't, you know? Please.
I basically went 27 years without my autism. There was a little pieces of, like, in my life, where, yeah, I had to work extra hard because I had set standards that were given to me by my parents.
Yeah.
And knowing, I mean, yeah, they took me to doctors, yeah, they took me to therapists, but not knowing that it was ASD. I mean, if that
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, maybe, but the beauty about kind of sliding into this space as adults is, and I'm learning, this is hard for me, but I'm learning to really believe that when things actually come, it's probably the perfect time for them to come. You know, I mean, do I wish and fantasize about how much better my life could have been? Yes. Yes, of course I do. But I also have to be cognizant of the fact that this is the only moment I get to live. And if I'm living in this moment, I'm starting to feel some enlightenment. I mean, that's a massive blessing too. My tendency was I could be getting some enlightenment and then that would jump me back and say, oh, but if it would only come sooner. Like I still couldn't enjoy this space. And I don't know all of those nuances and answers. I'm just not that good at it. But it is way more fun and way more stabilizing to feel like I'm here now, like I can sense that now. I'm getting some motion now, but the regret also can burn. So as I was going through my little depression thing, I remember I only wrote a half a page to start. And I remember that being one of the most successful therapy sessions I'd ever had. Because I was listening to a teacher rather than desperately just wanting to kill it or to kill me. Like I so desperately wanted it to end before that I was willing to do anything to make it stop. And this was different. This was me saying, no, talk, teach. I'll listen, let me learn. That was wild. I'm wildly different. So I'll encourage you, now that you kind of know us, and you know we're only kind of crazy, we're not completely crazy. You've met some providers and you feel safe. Start that process when you feel that disturbance come up. Start that listening process instead of that hatred, push away, like get away from me process. It changes dramatically. So I start to listen. What else do I do? What else do I do in this developmental? What's that? Feel it. I feel there are two basic personality types as we wander around on this rock, right? One, there are backpack personality types. What's a backpack personality type? You pack it with you. So as you get an experience, you carry it with, right? It's like, oh yeah, I got this one. This is my ex-wife, and then this is me growing up, and this is so inappropriate that happened when I was little, and my dad wasn't around much, and my mom, God, she was a total authoritarian, and worked way too hard, and never enough this. I didn't sleep very well, and oh yeah, I tried to get some therapy, and that was super traumatic. And so I end up like this, going around the world saying, man, help. Look at all this stuff I've acquired, right? Help me. And I start looking for help, and I Google like, well, who can I talk to? What can I do? Right? What can I do? Well, I've heard that Madison's a great therapist. So I go, oh man, I'm going to schedule an appointment. And I come over and I walk into her office. I'm like, hey, this is going to be awfully tricky. So, and she says, hey, what brings you in? I'm like, well, let's see. Well, let me tell you about this. And that was really, really tough. And then my mom, and then she wasn't around. My dad wasn't around that much either. And I couldn't sleep a lot. And I had these night terrors. Did I tell you about the night terrors? And I tried these pills. That didn't really work that much. It might be genetic because my great grandma, I heard that she's really similar stuff. And I'm almost out of time. Okay, so anyway. And then I tried to do this, but when I go to the gym, and then I moved out into this place, and I just saw, and then my wife left. Did I tell you my wife left? Okay, with a guy she met on the internet. It's heartbreaking. They brought me divorce papers to my work. Can you even, hold on a minute. I'm just gonna need a second. Okay, so anyway, and then I'm out of time. Oh, okay. Well, this has been really, really, really good. Thank you. That's awesome. Yeah. Man, you're really good. That was great. Thank you so much. That was wonderful, right?
For the next 6 years.
So we work hard together, right? We work hard together, and if I only bring stuff and ask her to help me sort it out, if that's my therapeutic strategy, will that work for me long term?
But if you're
please.
not allowing, I've always thought that, it's sort of like the things they carry, where, you are defined by your prior experiences and things like that. If we throw that out the window, then what?
Not to find. I'll let him say.
So acknowledge is really important. I agree, RJ. So you've got to acknowledge, right? No doubt about it. So acknowledgement is critical. But how long? How much? That's where it gets kind of sticky because you can't acknowledge enough if you think that's overly important. There's not enough acknowledgement in the world. You can go for 25 years acknowledging. No one told me this. No one told me that I can also do that.
Yeah, that's
Well,
like, who is that?
right?
All
It's
the things
terrifying.
that
Well,
are-
so what does the universe? Well, I'll use your pillow. So what does the universe actually give me every split second of every moment of every day?
The opportunity to be different.
It gives me a blank space. It gives me a blank. Every new moment is blank and vacant. But if I don't really see that for what that is, that vacancy, I'll absolutely destroy that with this. Thanks for the blank moment, but you wouldn't believe what come me off in traffic, and my air conditioner doesn't work really well. And I didn't really like what was for lunch, and now I was just thinking about. I mean, we just can't shut up about this, and so we miss this vacancy where really. And I'll ask you guys, what's happened in your lives in the next 30 seconds? In the next 30 seconds, what's happened in your life?
You don't know.
Say that louder.
Nothing yet.
Nothing yet. Nothing yet. Nothing's happened. What could I do physically with my body in 30 seconds? A lot of things? Trillions, probably. Because everything I do, I could make my finger a little bit different. I could open one eye or close one eye or partially close one eye and make a little noise. I mean, 30 seconds is an eternity of physical possibilities. How many thoughts could I think in 30 seconds?
But what if, like, kind of what you were just saying, like, to steal your analogy, was like, what if you need, different colored markers?
What if I need them?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
I don't know. I mean,
Like you need to remember that memory to prevent something in the future.
So the way that I describe this, and this is kind of my own fun analogy, all of my experiences and people that I've ever interacted with in my life, they get in my van every morning. They all do. They all do, and they all start to chatter, but nobody else drives now. Right? I can't pretend it didn't happen. I can't pretend that they're not with me because they do ride with me always, but I used to take turns letting different things drive. All right, depression, you drive. It's just, oh, okay, where are we going? Oh my, I hate this. Give me something like, or anxiety. Okay, you can drive. Oh, the anxiety. Oh, I go to the hospital. Give me something. Give me my clonazepam. Or insomnia drives, or a relationship, or heartache, or loneliness, or death, or something else drives, which meant I felt like, and I don't know if you guys feel this way, but you almost feel like a passenger while some other heavy emotion or heavy piece is actually the one driving you around. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and also, RJ, I think you said you used the word define you those markers of the box, but I think we're all shaped by our experiences and our thoughts. There's so much information in that you do have to put things in buckets and based on past experience, but that doesn't define who you are as a person. It's more just you make some decisions based on past experiences, but you have the opportunity to be change whoever you are on a daily basis.
So Keith, to this point too, there's something really important to insert there. Can it define who you are?
Yeah, if you let it.
Yes.
Yeah.
So there's these possibilities. It can. You really have trillions of possibilities. You do.
But it's a choice.
Well, it's hard to make in the beginning, but you're right. It is. This is really tricky. So this backpack idea is I collect stuff as I go. I pack it with me. It gets extremely heavy. It hurts. I start to collapse under the weight of it psychologically, mentally, emotionally, whatever, and I start looking for help. So I start unloading my backpack everywhere I can, asking for help, right? And it doesn't work. Why? Why doesn't that work? Because you've tried that. I've tried that. Why doesn't that work long term?
It's like you're so focused in on the details and you're not actually reading the whole story.
Yeah, and I'm not living in the only place that's actually authentic, which is now. Like I can't live here. I can't live here. There's no way to live here because I'm living here, right? I'm living like all the time, and there's really no end to that strategy. You just can't do it.
I also feel like you're not able to kind of see it as opportunities.
Yeah.
Markers can be opportunities.
Right.
So for instance, if you had trauma happen to you, it can create resiliency in you as
well later on.
Yes.
It can create awareness, and it doesn't have to be negative awareness, but
Right.
at some point you can develop strategies on how to deal with something once you're able to identify that
Yeah.
right away.
Yeah.
Because you're learning from that.
Yeah. So these pieces, these little tiles, so this doesn't go away. This doesn't go away, but these actually can be really acknowledged and identified and glazed and fired and made as a foundation that you can stand on for the rest of your life. They don't go away. It's not like I'll ever forget that I was abused or ever forget that I had a wife that left or anything like that. It's not like that, right? It's that I can actually make those foundational to me so that I can look down and go, oh yeah, I stand on those. Those are actually important to me, right? Like that's become a part of me. I'm foundational now. That's a big deal to me. Now the screen door personality, that's all backpack. What's the screen door personality? Or the only one that lives in reality personality. That means that I feel something come into my screen in this moment, but what do I do after I feel that authentically? It goes through. And then what does that leave me free for? The next one to be authentic. Because life is, I'm moving. My heart's beating. Like I'm actually moving through time. I'm actually moving through life. Time is ticking. Days go by. I can't experience what it's like to actually live unless I can push that away and be authentic in each of those next moments. Oh, that hurt a lot. Ouch, okay, let go. What's for lunch, right? Oh, this lunch is amazing. Or I didn't really love that, but that's odd. I would have never thought you could do that with chickpeas. Oh, what's my appointment? Like, you'll be able to feel and be authentic every single moment of the day, and each day will feel like these long, really beautiful learning experiences. Why do you think humans go back to junior high and high school with so much clarity? And we talk about high school and junior high, a lot of us, like we lived for 50 years during those 3 years, right? Why? Why do we get to talk about so many particular experiences and dates and outings and excitements and football games or whatever? Like what keeps those memories so thick and so clear? Madison.
Because it was like a planned, like scheduled event, like in that time. You know what I mean? Like when I think about high school or middle school, it's like I had such a schedule.
Yeah.
Like and like life progressed so easily.
But you were also there.
You're present.
You were present.
Oh,
It wasn't
yeah.
you were present. It wasn't just that it was scheduled, but you actually felt those experiences.
And it was scheduled for everyone.
Yeah.
Everyone
Right.
was going through it the same. I read this somewhere, like the great scattering in your life.
Yeah.
And the great scattering happens after high school because your schedule is literally changing. People go to college, they go to work, they do this, and they're no longer like sharing that social connection versus you have set schedules with 200, whatever amount of people you have or thousands of people that you have. And so that's why after high school, it kind of becomes a little bit harder because to accept that because you're having to learn about how people are on different schedules too.
Also, it's not set for you.
Yeah.
Like you have the choice to make your own schedule, whereas in high school, like it's very rigid.
Yeah.
They set it for you, and so do your parents
Yeah.
outside of school.
Yeah. So you kind of remember like.
Yeah.
But
No, I love it. So, and thanks for everyone for chiming in. So, I remember kind of coming out of the dark of that depression, and I remember losing months where you could have asked me, "Hey, what'd you do last February?" And I'd be like, "I have no idea." Like I was.
Never witness a crime.
Yeah, I was so unpresent. And well, what about December? I remember Christmas. What about the 22nd? I was probably last minute shopping. Or what about the 19th? I have no idea. There just wasn't a lot of living in that space. There was a whole bunch of fantasy. The problem with living in this realm is that it's fantasy. This is all fantasy. This is all me telling stories about my life or telling stories about something that happened or telling stories about thousands of things. This is like, wow, what is for lunch today? Like today, Thursday. What is for lunch? What is for lunch today? Is it tuna?
egg salad.
Ooh, egg salad? Beautiful stuff, yeah. And tuna?
Dr. Brooks,
Yes.
When I got sober a long time ago, and I moved out to California, I remember I sat in my little hot tub at the apartment complex, and I literally was sitting there, and I felt that same way of. I started feeling sad about how much time I lost being an addict, a problem, and and I didn't remember any of it. It was very vague, and I'm like, so I just want to tell you guys this when you leave here, is for that night I beat myself up a little bit, being like, dude, you still have 5 years of your life
Right.
being that you don't even remember.
Right.
And then I was like, I made the decision right then is there's nothing I can do about it. You got to move on from it because you might leave here and be like, you will have that moment of like, I feel different, I feel better, but don't let that guilt about like losing those years of your life beat you up because it's counterproductive.
Well,
those are gone and you have an opportunity to live.
But you can't live there. But you can't live there anyway. The whole point is if you're not living here in this one, you're living in some fantasy. The only place to live authentically is right now. All the rest is fantasy. It hasn't happened or it doesn't happen. So as we, oh yeah, please.
So, like, what if you had that box, right? You were carrying around a lot.
Oh, I have. Trust me. I'm good at this. Sure.
Like you're living in this pillow land, and then one day something happens, and you're like, fuck it, let's pitch up that box again, god damn it. And then you go down that whole cycle, maybe it takes a couple years, right? And then you come out of it again, you're back on that dang pillow.
Yeah.
How, when you have, and I feel like a lot of people maybe.
By the way, I'm gonna
like, I've had that moment in my head where I'm like, I'm doing it, fuck, and then I go down that rabbit hole.
Yeah.
Do you use your markers instead to help you create your pictures?
That's sort of where I was going with that earlier.
It's like, I don't know, like I felt that like feeling, but like it come over.
Yeah. So here, this is.
It's different, you know, each time, but like it's still that same like.
Sure. So this, I'll tell you my strategy. It was super messy. So I would be like, I'm letting all of this go. No, I'm not, because I gotta keep some of that. That's not fair. I mean, my mom was, well, and I was actually molested. I got to be able to deal with that, right? So, well, and I mean, they did say I might have been harshly toilet trained, so that could impact. I can't just give all that away. So I kept backing up and grabbing markers and putting. Oh no, I got to let that go. Well, I'll let it go. I'll pick it up. I'll let it go. I'll pick it up. So if you're fairly normal, there'll be a lot of picking up and letting go and picking up and letting go. It's not one time for most of us. I've seen it one time for bridge guests, embarrassingly efficiently do it. I mean, way better than me. But just make sure that as we talk about just the regular, honest, authentic, only place to live really, it's right now. Nothing else really has happened, and well, it has, but the only thing that really matters is that I get to live here. I can't live in 30 seconds forward or 30 seconds back. I have to live here or I have to fantasize. And the fantasy always creates messes like this. Yeah, please, RJ. Yeah.
I mean, I guess to her point, it's like when you're have the pillow, it's sort of like, well, where do you go from here? If you have this if you're a screen door and everything goes through you all the time, well,
That's the fun part though, right? Because you don't know, but you get to get excited about like, let's see what the world brings me that, you know, might be different, might make my life better. But to your point, Madison, with like addicts, right? Like some addicts, once they relapse, you know, they screw up one night, they're like, boom, like me sometimes, the wheels are off, let's just go and get every drug I can.
Like it's like one little
just
hair.
drugs. So, but it's like, that's why I don't count days, like other sober people do, because people that get caught up on the days and their number, when they get back to zero, it just crushes them. And so I try to stay away from it, you know. But
So first, be here, right?
What does that say?
Be here. Like here. Like at, what time is it? 11. My watch just went to 10:53, so I somehow lost, I don't know, a few minutes of the world. What happened? I know that's not true, but yeah, see? Tell me what it's like. I got to make some bets in Vegas now. So this philosophy, the thing that I want to kind of lay down as a strategy for getting better over the next couple of weeks is make sure that we all acknowledge that we have really exhausted this quest for relief. You guys agree? Yeah. It's exhausting. And we try all kinds of strategy. The fact that it hasn't worked has landed you here. And I'm thrilled that you're here. Now, as we shift mentally to come over and say, look, I've got to just acknowledge that there are things about me that need development. There just are. And I'm willing to be dead straight honest about that. I'm not good at intimate relationships. I don't like physical activities. I don't. I love fast food. This diet thing is going to be difficult for me. I don't want a serious relationship. I'd rather just attach randomly. Even though I know it's destructive, it seems exhausting to try to be in a real relationship. I mean, be honest about that, right? And when you are, that gives you a base to at least start from, rather than a fantasy to just keep jamming and jamming and jamming. So the screen door piece is really important because it allows me to be authentic in my appointments. At lunch, can everybody feel the fan blow just a little bit? Look at that little piece of paper waving right there with the breeze, those things waving just a little bit in the breeze. You can hear the hum of the air conditioner. Allow your eyes to close, just for funsies. Let's just be here for a second. What's going on? A little shuffle.
It's peaceful.
Yeah, it is. See if you can detect your heart rate with your eyes closed. Without touching your wrist or anything, just see if you can feel your heartbeat. Just see if you can feel it rocking you just a little bit every beat. Taste the air as it comes in. A little bit dry, a little bit cool on your tongue. Taste it as it goes out. A little bit warm, a little bit more acidic. If you're really perceptive, a little bit basic on the way in, a little bit acidic on the way out with that CO2. I mean, this space is really cool. This space is. It's when we step over this space and jam into that neurosis that we all get in a lot of trouble, right? And that was just a few seconds, but you can tell when you kind of settle into here. It's really special. So this developmental quest, let's put a couple more words up here. So I got to be here. I want to acknowledge. I don't want to pretend it didn't happen, right? I got to do that. I want to feel it authentically. I got to be honest and aware. I want to listen. What else do I do when I'm developing this? I got to process, sure. Do I have to exercise my physical body? Yes, I got to exercise. I have to do actual physical work. What do we know about physical bodies when you stop exercising them? What do? They atrophy and decay. Isn't it irritating after you've had like a 6-month stint at the gym, you're really healthy, you've eaten great, you're looking really good, and you get off track for 2 weeks on a vacation, and you're like, oh my gosh, that's fast. Like, I can't believe how fast that goes away.
Twice a month, right? Meaning, like, it takes, if you go to the gym for 6 months and you leave for like a month, it's something crazy about how quickly that declines.
Yeah, I got to be consistent. How about mentally? Do I have to be consistent with my mental? I do. How about spirituality? How many of you have let that spiritual connection go long enough that when you come back to try to access it, it's gone? You guys done that? I have too. Like, that's an odd place to be. You just let it atrophy so much that you're like, okay, I'm going to just start praying again. And you get on your knees and you're like, oh man, I feel silly. Like I've missed that space. Madison, the opposite. Let's hear.
Like where I didn't even know I really was spiritual until I found myself sober after college. And I realized, holy shit, yeah, this is it. And then everything kind of clicked more.
Nice, I love it.
I found that.
No, I love that. I mean, that's wonderful.
For a while, I had no idea how spiritual I was or connected to things, because I was just numbing myself for so long. How could I see all that?
Yeah. What happened during your chronic cycle to your spirituality? Did that stay intact? Depression, anxiety, like all of that, like that's.
I mean, later, after college, yeah. I definitely, yeah.
That stayed nice and tight. So for me, when I got messy, my spirituality got messy. Even though I could maintain my physical structure, I lost some of my mental and emotional. But I mean, everybody does.
I lost it mentally, emotional, but the spiritual side is still.
Love it.
That makes
Yeah.
sense. I don't know.
Yeah. So I had a big gap between my master's degree and medical school. I was, I think, the last person accepted into my medical school, and that was after 5 people in front of me decided not to go to school. So I was literally like the last person they took. I was older. I'd been at a class for a while. I failed my first module. I went from being valedictorian in my master's program to literally being on the edge of being dismissed from medical school. Like this why because I just lost that. In fact, I remember cracking open one of my books from my master's program because I thought it would help me in medical school. And I didn't recognize any of the things I'd written in the margins, even though I wrote them. It had just been too long and I lost that connection. So some of you, it'll be more about recapturing than something you've never had, but a lot of you, it will be about finding something that you've never had too. Both are very possible. So this developmental piece, we can go back and recapture, or we can develop something that we have never developed before,
But
regardless.
I think is like, to your point is, it does take you, it's like working out, right? Is you have to put the work in. Like when I used to do all the, like the gratitude thing and all the things I needed to do to stay sober,
Yeah.
I was doing great. And then you think you're fine because like you have enough years of sobriety under you, and then all of a sudden like, if you're not putting in the work, you're just risking,
Right.
jeopardizing that.
Well, and all the things, I mean, like listening to you talk about all the strategy, but also those came apart too. All the things, it also came apart at some point too.
Yeah.
All the things you learned and all the things that
Yeah.
were wonderful and all that resilience that you developed, that also exploded. And here you are at the bridge too. Right? So that's cycles. I mean, and if you're not careful, it's cycles depending on, yeah.
That's it's on me.
Right.
And it wasn't intentional. I just thought I was in a good enough spot mentally where I didn't need to be doing all those things that kept me sober all those years. And you need to, right?
Right.
All those things that you recommend.
Right. Well, what else? Development. Yeah, please.
I was gonna ask, like, in terms of development, you had mentioned like you're developing now, but if you want to like redevelop where you were in, I guess my question is, if you've gone through like those very traumatic experiences and you have your markers of the box in front of you, and it's kind of like you're obviously trying to like let it go, but at the same time they just become a part of you too.
Right.
You can like change and kind of have almost like a new personality. You can be a new person, but can you go back? Like if that question is, go back to a time whenever you were happy and you were calm and you enjoyed life and who you were, but then you have that traumatic experience. Can you go back then to being that, or is it better to like kind of accept that you've had that experience, you've developed certain skills, you're listening to your body more, so you might not be exactly that person that you were before at this point in your life. You'll be something close to it, but it might be slightly different.
Well, it will always be different for sure. And I love that word. You'll be better.
Yeah.
The trauma, the difficulty, the relationships, the pain, the surgery, the sickness, the separations, the anxieties, the divorces, whatever, you'll end up being better because that experience will season you. It'll season those parts of you. You can't see that at the time, but you'll actually, this moment, like if I can live in this one, like authentically, even after all of that trauma and after all of the whatever, this can be the most spectacular moment of my life, and then so can this one. And then so can this one. And this one, because I can move into that space where I'm living here. I'm living authentically. I used to think that people that did that were the ones that were fake and the ones that were weird and the ones that were, but really this is the fake. This is me saying, no, I don't really care about what's actually going on. I'd rather fantasize and tell stories about what went on or what might go on. Like that's the wreck, right? And that's the wreck that I put way too much time in. So this space, what else? Let's make a couple of words, then we'll move on. Plus you guys have lunch. What's that? Gratitude. Ooh, yeah. Are there studies that show your blood changing from being grateful? Yes. Yes, there are. What else in this developmental process? What do I do? Anything else? What's that?
Connect.
Yes, I got to connect. Do I connect because I'm needy, or do I connect because I want to connect authentically?
Because you want to.
Yes, this is an authentic desire. This one is a needy. Help, help, help. Want to go on a date? Oh, do you think I'm handsome? Oh my gosh, That's not connection. That's desperation, and that's something that's really unhealthy. But for me to say, hey, you got a really peaceful, look about you. We're here at this fly fishing class. Have you ever fly fished before? She's like, no, I don't like fish at all. I don't eat them either. We're going to throw them away. But man, where are you from? That connection is different than I want, right? So in this space over here, feel, connect, honest, inside out therapy, we know that. We recognize that a lot of our pain is coming from our lack of development. That is such a big leap, you guys. It is. It's a huge leap. And I used to get so irritated by well-developed people. Seriously, that had gone through way worse things than me that were happier than I was. That was so bothersome to me. Does anybody relate to that? Oh my gosh.
He's like, in the grocery store, you're like, oh, I hate that person.
Yes.
So happy.
Well,
So-
it seems, like you said, it kind of. I think sometimes it is fake, though. Like,
Well, maybe, but it's hard to judge, right?
I can't trust it.
That's hard.
Be authentic.
That's hard to judge. I remember being in a really dark spot, and I watched a documentary about this guy that had crashed an airplane and been burned almost unrecognizably, and his son was killed in the crash with him. He was so he was so grotesque. His wife left him. He ended up just like, this story was just horrible. Anyway, he worked with a plane manufacturer so he could fly again solo. So they developed this little cockpit in this plane that he could fly largely with his teeth, his breath, like those wheelchairs. And this whole documentary was about this guy just refusing to not fly again and refusing to give up into this old life. And I remember being so irritated about that because I'm like, why? I'm not that, I'm okay. I just had someone leave me and I had some things happen when I was little, but I almost felt like it made me look bad when other people overcame on these deep levels and I was unable to. Right? It kind of sparred, and I wanted to be cynical. I'm like, well, that's probably not real. We had this lady was really wonderful lady. She was probably close to 400 pounds. She'd realized, where a lot of that had come from. She was really funny, just super, super funny. And we were in Zion Park, and I was walking with her. And this really pretty, really thin lady started walking towards us in a little skirt, and tan, and real pretty lady. And she looks over and she goes, look at her weight. She's probably got cancer. I was like, what? And she said, maybe I should ask her if she's okay. I'm like, yeah, you go ahead and try that, And she giggled and she laughed and she says, yeah, that's the old me. She goes, I find myself mentally being so cynical and so, like caustic. Anyway, she went home and lost all of her weight, and she did it by putting one little note on her refrigerator and on her cupboard. Guess what the note said?
Skinny feels better than, what is it?
The note said, whatever you're looking for, you won't find it in here. All right. She recognized that her relationship, the relationship with her weight was her searching and seeking and trying to fill holes that were not associated with, and it was ended up being extremely destructive. And it kept her from being attractive. And when she was attractive before, she was abused because she was attractive. So if she was really unattractive, then no one would pay attention to her. And if no one paid attention to her, she had no chance of getting abused. But now she wanted love and relationships, and she wanted to feel attractive. And it's just this. But yeah, figuring that out and going back and changing all that. She's had a couple surgeries. She just looks beautiful, fantastic. And as all of us kind of develop that way, you'll recognize that your lacks of development are terribly unique. They're really, really unique. And you heard the little saying, like, if you've met one bridge guest, you've met one bridge guest. If you've met one, you've met one. Everybody is so dang different. So that's why we do some group where we do some high-level chats, and then we do some individual where you close the door and say, look, I'm going to bring my uniqueness into this space, and I want help with this. Whatever, the group stuff, but I want help figuring out how my mind and my body are interacting biochemically, why I can't sleep. Not why some people can't sleep after trauma, but why I can't. Not why some people can't have good relationships after being, traumatized, but why I can't. Why this is affecting me in this particular way. And that's what's so beautiful about your schedules, and hopefully you guys can kind of see that. But do you like this little piece? Does it help separate kind of where we're headed?
Yes.
We'll do fun things for relief, no doubt about it. We're going to have, you'll have a ball, and you have had some good times, but this focus will make your results last a lot longer. RJ, please.
One of those things, like, is it supposed to feel like work, or is it
Yes.
like one of those, like, you don't work a day in your life, you're doing what you love?
Yeah. I think this to me, I'll tell you the work, RJ. This is to me is awful work. Really. This to me is pretty awful work. That's not fun for me. This is really, really awful work. Daren did not like that at all. You know what I mean? Like that's the part where you're like, ugh, this
But it's
doesn't.
supposed to feel like it.
It is. But once you get into that space, then you can be like, okay, I'm fixing some foundational pieces. I can tell that. They don't taste good. I don't like it. Nobody does. My ego's screaming its brains out like, what are you doing? Wait, we have a system, you know? We're good. Like, what's that?
Don't mess with the system.
Yeah, don't mess with this system, right? But you're saying, no, this system is so broken that I thought about ending my life. Like, that's how bad this has been.
But your ego is probably saying, like, if it's not broke, don't fix it.
Yes.
And we don't think it's broke, so we're not going to fix it.
Yeah. Be careful, but that's why we're all here is you've had the courage to say something about my autopilot isn't working very well. It just isn't. In spite of what I've learned or where I've been before or my good qualities, there's something about the way I'm doing this life and there's some way I'm programmed subconsciously that's not getting me what I want. Like, and we've got to get under that stuff. I mean, we can smear stuff all over it. Did I tell you one of the most wonderful words of wisdom from, like, being on the farm in Camas, Utah, when growing up? So, I think it was my Uncle Harold or my Uncle Jody, I can't remember. I was pretty young, and we were pulling dams, irrigating. And I was talking about something that I was trying to repair personally or a relationship or something with some cheap technique. And I don't even remember the conversation very well, but it was quiet after I'd finished talking. And we were walking through the field, and of course there's cow pies everywhere. And he looked down and he said, well, you know, Daren, you could frost a cow pie, but I still wouldn't eat it. And that was profound to me, which basically means if you know that something isn't good, don't smear something sweet on top of it and then pretend that it's all taken care of. Don't do that, right? You remove that. You shovel that out. You just eat the chocolate by itself, but don't frost some of this stuff and pretend. That will get you into a lot of trouble, and it has. So as we go under this, right, not frost this, right? I don't want you to frost this or put powdered sugar on it. Like, that doesn't do any good. Like, we let this go the best we can. We work hard at that. And then we go under that and find out, well, what's my program now? Why do I get up in the morning and choose unhealthy things? Or why don't I get up in the morning? Or why do I sleep all day and then can't sleep at night? What's happened to me? What's happened to my system? Why are my relationships shallow? Why do I always feel like I'm in some little state of manipulation? Like, why can't I be totally authentic? That's hard. These are really heavy lifting pieces. But we're thrilled to have you. I don't want to mess with your lunch. You guys have a busy day today. But questions, comments before I leave you alone? Anybody?
I think to answer the question of carrying stuff around and why the markers return is part of the awareness, honesty, listen, fail, looping back to awareness, honesty, listen, fail. And it's just this giant circle where, yes, you're going to deal with something and you're going to take that out of your bucket. You're going to put it down, let it go. And then you're going to do the same over and over and over again. And then one of those same things will say anxiety comes about something. And that's when you have to be self-aware enough to be honest with yourself and listen to why that anxiety is coming
Yes.
and feel it.
Yes. Preach on from back there. Did you guys hear all that? That's great stuff. I agree. As you honestly make mistakes and kind of fight through, it's not even mistakes. As you fight through this letting go and picking up and letting go and picking up, that honesty and awareness, those principles will let you see that you're doing it. Will let you experience the fact that you know now that you're kind of like picking up and letting go and, you know, and bearing and undigging or digging and all of that. So yeah, beautiful. I love that. Love it. Anybody else? Anything to add, subtract? Nate, you've been awfully quiet. Anything to add before you escape?
Yeah, I guess I'd say that what really helped for me is to kind of come up with a theory of the world in a sense, like, for me it's more spiritual or religious, and I was never really like that before, and that kind of thing, like, it gives you like a code to work to live by and a goal to strive for, and like just even thinking that everything or a lot of things, if not everything, happens for a reason. That really helps you cope with things that have gone bad or things that you might worry about in the future, because you know it's like all just a lesson.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I love it.
You're wise for your age, bro.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, please, Allison.
When you recognized your relief process, how long did it take you to let go?
So,
You have, I believe, our coping mechanisms.
Sure,
are
sure.
survival mechanisms, right?
Not good for me. So it was years of me fighting. The resistance and the distractions, and maybe I'm not ready, and maybe I just need to try something else. And I mean, that took way too long for me. I didn't need to do that, but I did. And sometimes I still catch myself like jumping into something or getting cut off on the freeway or having somebody flip me off and be like, and then feel that disturbance and go, shh, like, knock it off. Like I think that will be a lifetime struggle. So I don't know, but I do know that you don't have to spend very much time if you really mean it. If you don't know if you mean it, well, I think I want to get well. I think this would be a good idea. I'm pretty sure I can do that. Oh, no, I'm okay. Like that dance can last years and years and years. But when you really mean it, you're like, no, I'm not doing this again. I'm not tolerating this again. This is not going to happen for me again. It just won't. That can go awfully fast. That can happen in an instant, really. And then you can battle a little bit and move on. But I would be aware of the fuzzy back and forth parts of your life where you kind of want it, you kind of don't, and I'm a good person, and that really can waste a tremendous amount of time.
They call it like bargaining with addiction, right? It's like people go to rehab and they're like, oh, alcohol's really my problem, so I'm not going to drink alcohol.
But I'm a good person.
But I can
Yeah.
I can do like cocaine or something, and it never works.
Yeah.
I mean, because
You're just substituting.
You're bargaining with yourself. You're like, oh, I can do this because this isn't really a problem, and it's similar to that.
Right.
Like if you're trying to fix your whole self, you're doing that bargaining or wishy-washy stuff. It never works.
I agree.
To echo off of that, in my last relationship, my only one, the cognitive dissonance was the hardest thing to deal with. What exactly you're talking about, and then the relationship with self is like that dissonance of that going. That was years.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy, isn't it? It is.
And it's still going on in ways that I don't even really realize it.
Yeah.
But like, and in ways I do. But like, yeah.
It's that fuzzy,
Is he a good guy? Oh no, but he's showing me this, but he's saying
in your
this,
heart,
he's showing this, and then he's saying this, and then he's saying that, and showing.
In your
So
heart
then,
knows
but
that
then
you're
he comes
wrong.
back.
and I don't want to judge because I'm not perfect, and it
Yeah.
just like spins and spins and spins.
It goes
Yeah.
through.
But in your gut, you know it's BS, right? But
Yes.
you're just like,
Yeah.
you are drawn to the right side of that, the relief, and it makes it easier to be like, hey, I know it's not a good idea, but you convince yourself it's.
Or maybe it's a good idea. Finally, maybe we've both developed enough that we can pull this off. So maybe.
But yeah,
Yeah.
never happens.
I know, right?
I've had that one before.
Yeah, right. We couldn't have done it before for sure. We couldn't have. It was bad before, but now I think we can probably.
People that get married
Yeah.
again, like their second time,
Yeah.
and then there's divorce.
Yeah, but I mean, it's like it's relationships with a significant other, and then the self, and then even before that.
Yeah.
After work.
Anybody else? Anything? Melissa? Anything? Anything to add? Anybody? No. All right. Enjoy your lunch. I need 2 people to help me teach my next lecture on Sunday. You're going to each teach for